This is what now happened in the world. But this won't be there in the future if this LLM is trained well in Python. Because what I know, if we can understand, on the go, we will generate the code. So now we have another part, the executor, and then error machine, right? This is now there. But in so when the ChatGPT got released, 2022, not even 2 years ago, the world is changing so far. So that means this part will be created within this. So that means there will be a module which completely understand your requirement in human language, give the text. Right? Then you just put it as a code system. Devin AI is carrying out this sort of. But Devin AI will come to a point you don't want the error check. Maybe you need to have an error check, but the number of loops you got will be anywhere, right? So right now we are here. Anyway, we are going to learn this today and understand what is the basics of that. Basically, there are certain instructions. It's like training a dog. You can't say a dog into the human language. There are certain words you have to say. Get to the camera, pick the ball. You can't say, hey dog, you are a nice dog. It won't understand. Right? Only the certain instruction it will understand. Similarly, the code editor understands certain way of instruction. So if we did it, then the interpreter get to the machine CPU CPU layer. So that is what we are going to do. Clear? For that, as we said, we do not want to install anything in our machine. We can directly enroll in the program. So I encourage you to open up the program. You got your email addresses, login details. If not, please create a username login and self-enroll on that program. So once you go here, artificial intelligence application, programming for AI, that's the one we are going to learn. So once you pick it, there will be self-enroll. So he's going to
get the enrollment for you. So I will wait for 2-3 minutes for the people to self-enroll. Up to now, any questions? So until then, I can summarize what we have learned last. So last lecture, we learned how the brain works. So how the neurons get information or take the input and process it and get the output to our muscles. In the similar way, how artificial neurons work. Gets the input to input neurons, and there are interconnected neurons, which is called as hidden layer, and the output is provided in probability. Right? So that's what we learn. So it's not solid 100%. Right? So it happens in our brain also sometimes. Because you meet a person after a long time, you have seen him somewhere, but you cannot remember where you had seen him. But that picture of him is there in your brain, right? So you try to recall where, maybe there, okay, no, not this place. Finally, after some iterations in your brain, you might be able to figure out, yeah, I met this guy in this place. So some kind of activity also happens in similar way in the brain neurons as well. So that happens in the artificial neuron as well. If you understand how a kid learns, the same way we are going to use the artificial neurons in the AI. Right? Okay. So, did you enroll for the program?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, let's start. So once we go into the programming language, here you have to go to the Python basics for AI. Once you click it, it'll get you to this. Okay. So right now, if you see, when I was in an undergraduate programming, the Python is not that popular. It's not that popular. Java is super popular during that time in 2009, 2008, 10 time. And JavaScript is also somewhat erasing. Most popular language was PHP and C Sharp, right? All the programming, everything happened in the computer is PHP and C Sharp. C Sharp programming is some kind of reasonable, which is easy for us to understand. If you have seen the code in PHP, it's really hard to work with. It's a not friendly environment at all. So PHP and C Sharp was leading in 2010. The Python programming is slowly coming into action because two reasons. One is the Python coding structure that, as I showed in this image, the code editor. The code editor instructions are very friendly, where you can understand easily. So, for example, now I say, if the water is in the glass, drink it, or else you just pour the water. This is an instruction. So, the same instruction in such a way we can give it to the Python language. If else, right? So, there are certain connections that have made in the Python interpreter where the human can easily understand. So then the coding become very easy, right? Still we have to understand that code editor part. There's a gap, but we will understand better than using a PHP language. So PHP is somewhat little harder, but there are certain languages called assembly language. Assembly means it's just about this in this area. Maybe I would say in this area. You don't use this. You don't use this. You somewhere about byte, something called byte. That means one step ahead the machine learning. So in 2010, we were requested to code in assembly language to understand what machine works, how machine works. Because each and every step you have to think how the CPU is going to work and you write. For print a hello world in the pre-stream in assembly language, you have to write 100 lines of code. Now in Python, maybe 2 lines. Even 1 line you can do it in a series. Right? So that's how it works. Print hello world, that's all. But to print that hello world in this machine learning language, you have to write 100 lines of code. Because you have to go to think about the CPU. Okay, I have to activate this resistor, this transistor, and I have to mute this transistor, this register. So it's like really painful thing. But now we are using this very easy, right? So that is one of the reason Python become very popular after 2010 time, and now it's the time, right? Once it started to pop up, it was easy to learn more than any other language. And since it was easy to learn, many people started to work on Python. They build up libraries, right? Libraries makes the process easier of coding. So you don't want to write tons of lines of code. Import a library. That's all you have to do, right? Then the library will take care of everything. So since we have a lot of libraries written in Python, specifically for AI and many other purposes, Python is the best language to learn AI. If you ask me, is that the Python only language that can comply with the AI programming? No. There are many other languages. You can even use Java, you can use MATLAB, anything you can use. But when it comes to library, Python have a lot of libraries. So it will make our life easier to coding AI, right? So we will see how the libraries are built up in Python on the go, maybe next class and next class. So now Python is the best. 25.95% of the users in the world use Python for many purposes, including front end, even certain other applications. Java is the second one because of the JavaScript, that one. And Node.js is the front end software. So there are many other programs. We don't want to come and do that. All right, now we will go into the programming directly. So if you go here and scroll down, you can see a widget like that, right? So that is the widget that we are going to use for programming. This is called Jupyter Notebook, right? It is a text editor, right? As I said, the text editor is the one. So the code editor is this one, Jupyter Notebook, that we are going to use, where it's going to run in the server itself, like your browser itself. It's a very lightweight model. You can't run AI programming in your browser memory. Right? Browser have a certain cache memory and CPU, RAM. It have certain thing in the backend. So you can execute all these program in the browser. You don't want to have a super powerful GPU. What you need is a good internet speed and the browser and maybe a good computer. CPU, GPU doesn't matter because all the things we are going to use in the browser level feature. When it comes to AI programming, we are going to move from this Jupyter notebook towards Google Colab because this browser does not have a GPU. As I said in the first week, AI programming requires GPU. Otherwise, it's going to take a long time for you to do that task, do the training, right? So we will compare how the CPU works along with the GPU when it's come to speed in the third lecture, right? Or fourth lecture. Yeah. All right. So let's jump into the programming. So there are nodes added over here. You can learn, and there are nodes added in the footer also. You can learn. I will go through that as well. To make it to the full screen, I'm just going to close this one. So you will have a clear view of the Python. If you put it to 125, zoom screen, you will have a very nice view of this one. And just if you want to access the side view, just click it or you can close it. Okay, right. So now we are going to talk about the variables. Anyone know variables except you, the person who learned Python earlier? Variables. Basically, the variables are the thing that the storing elements, what we are going to store in the Python program. So as you know earlier, when we want to train a neural network, we need data as an input. So that data should be stored in certain places. Where we are going to store them? We are going to store them as variables. Variables mean we have to tell the Python, okay, if is it a name, I have to say it's a variable. What kind of variable it is? If is it a number, what kind of variable it is? In the number, there are two types of it. One is integer number, other one is floating. So we have to tell all these things to the Python, right? So that's why the variables are very important. So for example, if you take, so the name here we mention it as Mike, right? Make name or any other variables coming in the text form, we put it as string variables, right? We call them as string variables. For example, name, place, city, building name, address without a number, maybe address even including the number, we can call it as string variable. String variable means it's coming in a text format. So you can't add two string variables. If you save a string, you can save a number as a string variable as well. 25 string and 45 string. But if you want to add these two numbers, you can't save it in the string variable. The string variable is only for certain stuff like names, city, and other stuff. Age. Age, if you see, it's 25. Do you say the age 25.5? No. Age, mostly they say, how old are you? I'm 24, I'm 25, or 32, 33. On full number. So full number means we call that variable as integer variables. Okay, we call that as integer variable. And the other one, height. Height is always say, you can't say I'm 2 meter long, right? You usually say I'm 1.58, 1.6. So that means it's called floating variable or float variables, right? So there are certain names that we have given for variables. One is string. Basically, when it's come to text, we call it as string variable. Integer variable means it's numbers, full numbers. Float variables means decimal point numbers. Boolean variable means true or false. Are you a Sri Lankan resident? Yes or no? Yes or no? Or true or false? Those kind of decisions can be saved as Boolean variables. Okay? Summarizing, string variable, name of a person or a city, integer variables, number of students in the classroom or age of a person, full numbers, Floating variable means height of a person in meters in decimal points or the temperature in decimal points. Decimal points, that is float. Boolean mean yes or no. So these are the 4 variables major category that is required for Python. It's not hard at all. Let's see how we can save or code these things in Python. Let's say I'm going to enter my name as a variable into the Python environment. So how I execute my name and get the name to be printed using Python. So that's what we are going to use. So storing a variable. I'm going to store my name and print it after that. Right? So how to do that? So first I just define name. Even you can define it as my name. You can edit it. Right? You can edit my name. Right? So you save your name as my. Here I'm going to save my name as Logi. Right? You can edit it according to your name. So now I'm going to print my name. So this is name. This name, whatever you put into this inverted comma, inside the print command, it will be printed as it is. Right? And I am calling this name. What is this name? I defined as a variable. So if you clearly notice, if I am going to define a string variable, I just put within 2 inverted commas, right? Inverted comma. So if you want to define a string variable, you should keep this notation over here, right? So here in the Python programming, if you see a hash option, what is that hash mean? The hash means the Python interpreter will not take this into consideration. It's just a comment for us. So here, storing a string variable. So that to understand what this code is, I have entered this thing in the hash. So that means this is for my understanding, not for the Python interpreter. So if you put a hash, the Python interpreter will not take that hash into action to change it into a machine code. This will be left alone. So that is the hash. So when it's come to print, you should keep the bracket also like this. So now execute and see how these things work. How to execute? There are 2 ways you can go. So you click this option, this tab, go here to the top and click play. So now you can see name, the name I have put over here exactly came over here, and this name which is I defined over here, I saved it as a variable, right? So this is one way of executing, or else you can't go again top and bottom. So you click it, click the shift and enter key. Click the shift and enter key, the column will be executed. Okay. Now try your name and print it. So you can see the name is printed over here. You can change your name and you can do it. Now the name is stored in the Python environment. So even you go back down and print the name, it will print because it's already saved. We are storing this name into the Python environment through the Jupyter Notebook editor. Right? So instead of this, you can also say my name. See, my name. Whatever you put here, it will be printed down without any differentiation. This name is not in the inverted comma because we have saved this name here. So you can play with that by changing your name and you can print it over here. Clear? So there are a couple of things that we are learning. We are storing string variables, the name, the city of the thing, or which cannot be changed. Right? Here, the hash means the Python interpreter. When you are changing this, will not take that hash into action. Hash is like something else. We don't want, right? So if you want to comment anything, okay, I am going to store, I am, whatever you type will not be taken into interpreter. It's just for your information as a comment. What is this code about? And this name we have stored. and I have printed my name. Shift, enter, I printed my name. So this is the way you store a Python. Everyone is on with me, right? Because you have to do with me, otherwise you won't understand. Now the age, it's a integer number, right? Age is an integer number, full number, not a floating point number. So to store the integer variable, we do not use the inverted, right? So we do not use that double semicolon. So now you just define the age. Age is equal to 25. That's all. Then I'm going to print the age and say age is, so my age is 33 and age, this is going to change. So I can type also my age. Whatever you type into that inverted comma is not going to be counted. Just it's going to print as it is. And once you enter, my age is, shift enter to exit. So this is the way you store the integer. So you enroll to that Python programming? Yeah, you are following with me, right? Okay, good. So storing, similarly, the storing the float variable, we call it as a float variable, is height. Again, as I stored the age integer variable, just age is equal to 33, I'm going to store the float variable, height is equal to 1.78, nothing else, right? And I'm going to say my height, I'm actually 1.65 meters, and the height, if enter, my height is 1.65 meters. Okay? All right. So now, similarly, how to save the Boolean? Boolean means what? True or false, right? True or false. So I'm going to say Sri Lankan resident, true, right? So I'm going to say here also Sri Lankan resident. And here also I have to say Sri Lankan residents because it's Dubai. I'm going to call this how it's saved. I'm going to call it here to print it out. Shift enter, Sri Lankan residents become as true, right? So this is how you use the print option and to store the variables. First we are storing. Why we need to store stuff? Because we need to get the data to the neural network. So we can't get the data from anywhere. We have to first store those data into the environment. So we are going to store variables as names or any other image file name. So we are going to store the numbers because if you take a image pixel, as I said, neurons need numbers, right? Neural network needs numbers. It cannot work with words. So we have to give certain numbers to the words. So these things are going to be stored as integer variables or float variables in the Python environment, right? So that's why we need to do that. So now we have learned how to store a string variable, how to store an integer variable, how to store a float variable, and how to store a Boolean variable, right? Then how to print that as well. Now we will come into a F strings option because now separately my name is Logi, my age is 33, my height is 1.65, my residency is Sri Lanka. True. Separately we have that. How to put it in one sentence? I am Logishan, I am Logi, my height is 1. As a one sentence, how I can print it? So that can be done using F strings, right? So you put here, you just print just like this, inverted comma, Sri Lankan resident, comma, Sri Lankan resident that I have called, but I have saved over here. For age, height, my height, comma, the height is equal to 1.65. So now I am going to say it as a sentence that we use F strings. So if you use F in front of this inverted comma, that will take it as an F string. Here you can say hello, my name is in this bracket, right? You call the name. What is the name? I have already stored my name in the variable, right? String variable. And I am in this bracket age, years old. My height is in this bracket meters. If you print this one, shift enter. Hello, my name is Logi and I am 33 years old. My height is 1.65 meters. Right? Because we have saved all these things inside the Python environment. Wherever you call, it will give you the value because it's saved already. Right? So this is how we save and retrieve to print the saved option. Clear? So that is the function of fstring. Then now in certain places you might encounter some issue because you try to some values even here. Come over here. I'm going to show something. If you save a value here under the name 25 and print it, it will also saved as a string value, not an integer value. What will happen if you save a string value here, right? And you are trying to add certain numbers, 25 plus 50 and everything. But one of the number is saved as string. Then the Python is going to give an error saying there is a type error. Because you can't add a string value. You can add a string to an integer, right? You can't add string at all because string is just a word. So now the 25 is taken as a word, like it's as a character. That's all. Nothing else. So what will happen? The thing will get given error, type error. Type error means you are trying to add a string value with a float number with the string integer value. So there are issues comes up in the Python. So in that case, because now you are saving, but in certain condition, you will execute the saved value, right? You don't know what is the saved value type is. So to understand what are the saved value type, you can just say print type name. So that means what type the name value is, what type the age value is, what type the height, what type the residence. So once you execute this one, you will see this is Dubai residence. I change it over there as Sri Lankan resident, right? So that's why it's giving an error. So we'll change it as Sri Lankan. And once you execute it, you will see the name is actually a string variable because I saved it as a string. The class age is an integer variable, and the class height is type class height is a float variable, and the type Sri Lankan resident is a Boolean variable. So this is how you can get what type of variable that I have saved those information. This will happen when? Because you are already executing, try to get the saved data and try to train the model. Sometimes when multiplying, error will come up, type error. So that means you should understand certain values were saved as in a different type, not as an integer or the float number. So you have to go change the variable again into the type, then you come and execute that. Okay. To understand how these things are saved, you can use this type function. Clear? Right? Then the input. In certain places, you don't save it. For example, you go there, you want to log in to information. The login front page asks, enter your name. Then you enter, then it gets saved, right? In the environment. So how to get that input? So that we can get this input as name. Here, name, input, into these inverted commas. What is this name? Right? So then I am going to take input. So once you print it, the input is the function which is going to take your input into the Python environment. So I am going to say full name now, Yogishan, and enter. Now my name is saved as Yogishan. Earlier, if you remember, I saved as Logi. Now the name is saved as Yogesh. Then I print my name. Here you can see PyOD future finished result. Logis. Something weird, right? Because earlier when I print my name, it just gave my name. What is this part? Because we are using this Jupyter notebook. So the Jupyter notebook add a header to this thing if you just use the input. But keep in mind, when we are going to use Google Colab or the real Python environment, this will not be printed. This will not be printed. This is because of this Jupyter notebook environment is. Okay? Right. So this is appears when we print the name because we are using the Jupyter notebook to get the user's input and it's showing us the result of a special operation performed by the node. That is the converter interpreter stuff. We don't want to go into that. So we can avoid that by using this awaiting. Instead of just putting this input to get the information, you take name, await input, and take the name. Then you print it. What is that? Okay. Okay. So now I need to enter my name. So I'm going to print my name here. Okay. So I'm going to print again Nogi. So now I entered my name as Nogi. When you print it without that part, you will get the result. This is just to take it in the Jupyter Notebook environment. But in the Python environment, Visual Code, Google Colab Notebook, any other environment, this code will work. Okay? So now you can ask a question. What is this type? What is this type? Right? So now I am going to say type name. We have seen earlier how to get the type. It's a string variable, right? It is taking as a string variable. Now I am going to change it to age, right? Age. Please enter your age, right? I'm going to execute it. My age is 33. I'm entering it. Now I'm going to check the age. What do you think? What will happen? Is it going to be an integer number? It is again a string. Why? This input takes any value or any name as a string. It's a default, right? So you have to, this is the problem. When you execute, you save it as a string, but when you execute the number into an integer, then the type error will come. Right? So you have to know what is this one. Then you have to convert it into a string value. So we will see that also in the later. So now there is a small exercise. You can go home and try that out. So you have to write a complete code to take the input of an age, of a name, and the temperature, and you have to print it as it is. Hi, Donald, your age is 28 and your body temperature is 36 degrees Celsius. Right? So now you have all the codes over here. Go back, copy, paste the relevant code, edit it, shift, enter, then you will get the thing. So this is a home exercise. Before next class, try to do it. Right? And try to play with this. So now we have learned about the variables. There are 4 variables, only 4 variables. String variables, integer variables, full numbers, float variables, decimal point numbers, boolean variables, true or false. But when you take it as an input, as we have done just before, all the variables are going to be saved as string variables. So when you execute it, there should be a conversion happening. You can't add 33 string value with 45 string value. It will give it will not add up. Right? So it should be an integer number of data, whatever the text data, generative AI that we are going to give, we are giving text and integers. Especially when it's come to image processing, all these images are converted into the pixel number. So that is coming to basically floating number. So certain quantities in IDs gives as integers. So here you can find the examples.
So we will on the go, we will learn, we will not discuss now, because while we are doing hands-on experience for AI, I will recall this back. Do you remember we have saved the string value? We will do that. So now for your understanding, you can go through this as well. Then the containers. Now what we have done just before, if you click the next lesson is called containers, right? Click, go to the next containers. So that is the one. You will learn. Just before, what we have done is we use the information about myself or a person, and one by one I entered and I stored. What if I want to save it in a container? Not only mine, there are 3 names, right? Name in a cricket team. I don't want to say name 1, name 2, name 3, get one by one, it's going to take time. So I want to save it in a basket. Okay, my cricket T20 cricket team selected players. So then it's a container. It's called a container. So how to work with containers? When it's come to container, we have 3 major types. One is called list, other one is called tuples, and the other one is called dictionaries. Only 3 types of containers. Maybe a box, plastic box, and an iron box, something like that. Right? You can say it's a container. You put all the things and save. Right? So these containers are 3 types. One is list, tuples, and dictionaries. A list is an ordered collection of items. So let's explore some common list of functions. The first one, earlier I have saved the name. Name is equal to, inside double inverted comma, I type my name. Now, to save a list, I am going to have Michael, Donald, and Charles. 3 names. Right? I'm going to save at the same time. To do that, you should open up a square bracket. Right? And typically we use single inverted comma, not the double stuff. Right? Then I am going to say Michael, Donald, Charles. You can edit these names as well. And I'm just going to say print names. If you print it, all the names will be printed. So now this is a container which has my names saved as a container. Right? Clear? So now I saved these things. So now let's say there is a 3-player team, and in a software company working in a certain area, you are saving Michael, Donald, Charles. Later on, a new person also come and joining that team. So you have to enter that person name also. So you can do one way, you can go put comma and say Jennifer is the new person and save it, or else already we have saved this list, right? We already saved this list. We can append. Append means save a new name into that list. So that is what we are going to do. Names append function, right? Names is the one I have saved already. Into that names list, I am going to append the new name Jennifer, right? So this is the code for that. Names is the variable name that I have saved over here. Dot append Jennifer, and I'm going to print the names now. So now if you print it, see over here, into the list, I have added Jennifer, right? So if you want to add Logi into the list, what do you think? Will the Jennifer go away? No, because the Jennifer is already added to the list. If you enter Logi, Logi will be another person who will be added to the list. Clear? Get it? So you save a list now. List of names. List of names. I have done. So one, I initially created the list. Later on, couple of people come and join. So I need to enter their thing into the list, go and add the thing. Right? Where do you remember this thing? Open cart, add item to the list cart. How the item is saved as shopping. Amazon.com. This, what is that called? This our thing, Daras. you add the list one by one, items to that list, shopping cart. So what is happening in the backend programming is all these values, name is saved as a list into the item, string variables are saved as a thing. When you add, they are appending it. So when you check out, it load all the list and give you the total value. Right? So you initially add 2 items at the same time, then one by one you add other phone cover, phone case, phone charger, then go to checkout. Everything is happening to the list. Your list will be loaded for processing. Okay, you get it now? How it works? So now I have saved all these phone names. I'm going to remove now Logi. So Charles. So again, you are deleting the item from the shopping cart. Then it should be removed. You cannot charge for that. Or one person is going away from my team. I'm giving a farewell. Now I need to remove his name from my team. So to do that, you say dot remove. As we have done dot append, I have said dot remove. Then if I say names dot remove, now the Charles name is gone. Charles name is gone. Now it's Michael Donald Jennifer Logie. I'm going to remove my name as well. Logie. Then Logie also gone. Right? So this is how you remove the saved name. Everyone is following with me, right? You are running the code and executing. Cool. And now I need to know, because imagine there is a huge list, 100 lists, people are saved in a list. Another thing we can say, image movies, like movies ranking, right? The movies ranks are saved in a list in the order. So I want to know what is the second ranked movie. That means what I need to do is I need to take the second value and I need to check it. So how to take that second saved value in the list in an order? So there I just say print names to, right? That means, do you think what is the name it will print? Is it going to print Donald? I put names to means name is the list 1, 2. That means it should print Donald, right? But if you see, it printed Jennifer. Why? Because in programming, we all count from 0. 0, 1, 2. Right? So the 0 label is given to Michael. If you want to get 0, then you will get Michael. If you get 1, that is going to be Donald. If you get 2, if you're going to be Thing. If you get 3, there is no people added to that list 3, it will give a error, right? Because there is no one added as 3, right? So this is how you can hold the certain stored value, right? So that is just adding a square bracket and calling the number where those stored. And we are going to check. I don't know what is the second rank movie is, but I want to check what this movie rank is. I know the name of the movie, so I want to check what this movie rank is, or else what Donald's rank is in class. Then I say print Donald in names. Yeah, sorry. This is whether he's exited or not, right? So for example, I want to check within these 3 persons in the class, Donald is there or not. I just say Donald in names. Then it go back and check and say, yes, in the list, Donald is there. So it will print it back as true. Again, if I say Logie, if the Logie is there in the team, no, he's not there. It gives the false value, right? So this is how you can execute these code. So these in the tuples, in the list, what we have done, we have taken the names, we have added the name, we have removed the name, and we have taken a value. What is the third person in this list? Who is the third person in this list? So, and also we have checked whether that name of the person is in the list or not. So you go and type Matthews, Angelo Matthews. it will give true because he is in the T20 team. I didn't expect that he will be included in the T20, but unfortunately he is there. I don't know why the reason. So that's how it works. So if you save all the team members one by one, you append it and you can check it, you can play with it. So that is about the list. That is about the list, right? Now we are coming into tuples. As mentioned before, the tuple is similar to a list, but it is immutable. A good example is the birthdays of the team members. Can you change? No. So that is mean immutable. Birthday of mine cannot be changed, right? So the following code saves the date of birth of the team members in a tuple called DOB. So the tuples, nothing much different. For the list, you can see a square bracket is used and the single inverted comma is used to save the list. Here in the tuples, a half circle bracket is used and double colon is used over here. So these are the list that interpreting language front end that we have to memorize basically. Then I print the BOD, you can see these are saved. Even certain places you can save one also, it doesn't make a difference. It's a standard to save as 2, but it don't make a difference. So earlier in Python they said you have to save 2, but later on they said 1 and 2 doesn't make any sense, they made it to 1. So nowadays it works for 1 as well, but traditionally we save with 2. It's up to you how to save. So I saved 0598, 2005 and 2004. Here the tuple is created inside the circular brackets. Individual date of birth is entered within the double quotes and separated by a comma. Unlike lists, which support methods like append and remove, tuples do not have methods to modify their content because tuples cannot be mutable. That's what called immutable. So we cannot append, we cannot remove. So once it entered. That's all. So if you want to enter a new one, you have to go ahead and enter a one. That's all. You cannot append, you cannot remove. It's a fixed set of values that is called as tuples. So now, once the tuples are saved, you can't do anything. You cannot append, you cannot remove. So one thing you can do is, you can check how large is the tuple is. So to check the length, you can use the length of DOB. 4 date of births are so. So here also, you can check in this one also. For example, names, right? The length is to determine the number of total thing function, the number of thing. Okay. So here it's 4. Even that is not only for tuples, you can apply for anything. Even the length function is to get the length of the list, length of the tuple, length of the dictionary, whatever. Okay. So length is to determine the number of items. So now you can do. So only the tuples are saved. You can't mute it after that. Clear? Good. Now we are moving into dictionary. Now the dictionary, what we have done, we have saved the names as a separate list. We have saved the date of birth as a different tuple. Now I need to save it as a dictionary. Dictionary means I have my personal details, my name, my age, my date of birth. All these things into one content. So if you take logi out, I can take my age, my thing with that also. Right? So how to save that is the way is dictionary. Right? So a dictionary is a collection of key point value pairs. Here some common dictionary operation is given. Now let's store all the information of a person in one single place. So that is a dictionary. So here I'm going to say Michael's info. So full name is Michael Foundersky. Age is 25. Date of birth is this one. Now I save. If you see, there are 3 different brackets. To save a list, I used a square bracket. To save a tuple, I used this half circle bracket. To save a dictionary, I use these curly brackets. This is how the Python program differentiate whether it's a list or a tuple or a dictionary. Okay? Only based on the bracket. If you mess up with the bracket, the Python interpreter doesn't understand. Right? So it will give an error message or it will save as a different list. You want to save a dictionary, but it will save as a list. All right. So now let's execute this code. Now you can see the whole thing. Age is, full name is Michael, age is 25, date of birth is thing. All the things are saved as a list. The store store the information about a person as key value pairs, where the keys like name is 1, age is 1, the key, and DOB is another key. And the values are 20 Michael, 25, and the date of birth. Key value. Key means full name. What is his full name? Is value. Age is key. Value is 25. His age. DOB, key, and his thing is 19 thing. Okay. So this is how the list dictionary works. So now Michael info is the list dictionary's name that I have said. So now how I only take the name. I don't want to care about Michael's age. I just want the name out of the Michael dictionary. Then you go print Michael info, that is the dictionary name, and I call the key. I call the key, right? Full name, then that will be printed. If I call the age, that is the key for the age that I have used, that will be printed. If you take the other key value DOB, if you print it, the DOB will be printed. So this is how you can get a certain information from a dictionary, right? Using the key name, right? All right. So now I forgot to say Michael is a male or female. I need to add that information also into this dictionary. How I can add it? So this is not immutable. You can add remove items from there as a key value class. So now I'm going to say Michael info. I'm going to add a new key value pair is male. Right? I'm appending basically. So Michael info is the dictionary name that I have created. So a new key I'm going to add, and the key value is male. So now I have added, and if I print the name, you can see full name Michael Founders key, age is 25, date of birth is this one, and gender is male, right? The gender is male. So now I have added a new key value called as gender and saved it as name into the dictionary. Then if I can admin, whether we will see that is added, okay? So other thing is, we can also check whether the certain person age is there. For example, the same way that we have done for the list, whether Michael name is there, true came. Similarly, we can also say age is there, yes, age is there. If you take gender is there, yes, it's true. The birthplace is there, false. It's not there in the dictionary. So like that, we can take the information out. So that's how you can modify the dictionaries. Now, I'm talking about this thing. Have you tried this guy? You can say, from the dictionary. See, it gave the code. I never put here how to remove that thing. I just append it. You want to learn? Use this teaching assistant. So you can chat. So it's a Dell Michael info gender, print Michael. It should work, right? Sometimes it might not work because why? Because I'm communicating in this language. So you copy, paste, right? Copy, paste, and try error, put that error. It's a ChatGPT connection. So we'll see. Now we will remove it and see how it's going to work. Whether it will work or not. Yeah, it worked. Mostly it will work because we have given the script. If you ask some tough questions, it will try to generate the thing. It's an AI teaching assistant with the help of Gen AI. Gen AI has that issue still. So it will create the code, mostly correct. But if you ask a tough question on Python programming, it will give the code. Sometimes, like 95% of the time, it will be correct. But that 5% it might be wrong. Then what you need to do is print the error message, paste it over here. Then it will give the correct. Okay. So that, yeah. You have a question? Yeah. No, you have to go and delete it from the entering. Yeah. So that's the thing. All right. So you can play with this guy. All the question what you have, select the week 2, ask the question, he will answer. Or else you can talk to this lady also. But she is a bit slow. If you have very weak internet connection, she will take for a while. So you can just try that for fun if you wish. But you should have fiber connection. She'll be fast. Or else here I don't think it will take a couple of time to load also. So you can reduce the size and you can select this week again and you can ask the question by talking to her. She will answer. All the scripts will be printed over here. Okay. And you can also talk here by saying, clicking this. Hey, can you tell me why the Python programming is very important for AI applications? Boom. Then it will give the answer. Right? See? And if you don't want to read, it will talk, but it's connected to that thing. The voice is not coming, so you can write in home. Okay. So these things you can ask all the doubts, whatever the things you have in your mind to AI teaching assistant. Okay. When you learn by yourself, when you code and everything. But there are some exercises given, right? Take home exercises. If you ask the question, it will give you. But don't do that, right? You try it. If you face an issue, go to the AI teaching assistant and clarify that thing, right? Don't go to the AI teaching, okay, give that thing, I need to print, it will give the code, right? It's to help you, guide you. Don't ask. Be like Americans, right? So when I was teaching in US, what happened? One of I was guiding an MSc students, right? So there, I'm a PhD student, but I'm guiding an MSc student and I'm teaching also. So I gave a problem and this guy submitted the answer and he came and asked me a doubt. Look, you gave a question, but I don't know how the answer was taken from this question. Then I checked his answer script, it's wrong. And he said, yeah, I know that is wrong, but this is the right answer. So I asked, where did you get the right answer? So usually in foreign countries, they follow a book. So the assignments are given, okay, these questions are the assignment. That guy has the answer script for that book, right? But he never looked at them. He wrote by himself, he tried by himself, he submitted the answer to my class, then he went and reviewed back the correct answer. After reviewing back the correct answer, he couldn't understand how they get that correct answer. Now he came to me to, can you explain? So do you think Sri Lankans will do it? No way. So that much they are very genuine, right? Very genuine. They don't lie. They don't cheat. right? They don't cheat. It's very rare you will see an American cheating. But in America, Sri Lankans, Indian do the cheating work, right? Mexican, other people come and do the thing. So that's why this is designed for a Dubai resident. So use this as a Dubai student, right? Don't ask the direct question. It's good for you to learn as well. So I'm just kidding. Don't take it as serious, okay? So, but that is a true story. That Michael Foundersky, that same person. I put his name as an example here. He closely worked with me. Michael Foundersky. You can type his name and see him in Google. He will pop up. He is working in 3M right now. You know, 3M company in US. He is working there in a company. I don't know whether he is shifted or not. The bright student. All right. So these are certain examples given to you where these key dictionary, list, and tuples are used in certain places. Now, arithmetic operators. What is these arithmetic operators? Plus, minus, subtraction, division. That's all. So how do we do it in the calculator? The same way you are going to do in Python. Not much difference. Okay. Arithmetic operation. So first, let's say we will take two inputs and we are going to play with that input. So you know how to take an input. X is equal to, I'm going to define an X. Await input. I'm using this await input again because it's a Jupyter notebook, right? If you see the Python environment, Visual Studio Code, Google Notebook, you just need to use the input, right? If you take the input in Jupyter Notebook, that interpreter interprets in something different way and it prints something else, right? So now I'm going to take an X value. Let's say I'm going to enter my age, 33, and I'm going to take the Y value. I'm going to take 23. Something, maybe with my after 20 years or my ages. So these three values are going to enter. You can play with whatever they enter you do. So now the issue here, is it a number? These values are stored in string. So can you add two string numbers? No way. So what do you need to do? You have to convert to integer. How to convert to integer? There we go. So that's it. Earlier this is X. So you can also say type print type Y. No, this is a thing. If you print, okay, I'm going to add a code down. So here you can see, click here. These are the code adding options. If you want to try something new, you can add the code. And if you go there, you can delete the code. Now I'm going to print type Y. It's a string, right? It's not an integer. So now my aim is to convert this 20 and 30 to an integer value. So now the conversion is very simple. X is equal to integer X. Y is equal to integer Y. So now I enter. Now it get converted. Let's now see by adding a new code line, print type Y. Now the class, earlier it was string. By executing this code in the Python environment, I changed the parameter value into an integer, right? So now I can execute any operation that I want to perform, right? So now I'm going to add that thing. It's nothing rocket science. I'm going to say define sum, or you can define it as A, B, whatever you want, is equal to X plus Y. Then I'm going to print using the F string. The sum is inside the F string we have learned in the first lesson, 53. Now I'm going to do the subtraction. Define difference X minus Y. The difference is printed in the string value. The difference is 30. Multiplication, we don't use the multiply symbol. Instead of using the multiplication symbol in Python, we use X. So to multiply, I just define the name as product. This not need to be product again. It can be A also. You can put the A here. It's not going to make a difference. So now it will be multiplied. If you product, we'll keep it as product because it's easy. So that is a name that you are saving. Now this product is a variable, right? It's a product is a variable. Right now the product is thing. So what type of variable this is? Product. Let's see, type. Product is saved as a variable now. Thing. Should be an integer, right? Because we are multiplying two integer number and that should be an integer value. So now the product is an integer, right? That you can write out. That's the thing. Now division. So we know the same symbol that we are going to do for the division. X divided by Y, 1.65. So these are the basic mathematical operation that we daily use in the calculator, right? Only the different symbol that you see is the star. Instead of the cross mark, multiplication mark, we are going to say a star. Other than that, all the symbol are same. But yeah, this is 1.65. This one is returns the remainder of the division between the left and right of it. So that means what is the difference? So how many times? This is 1.65. So if it printed, you can see the remainder is 13. That means there is the 50, what is the number? 33 and 20. There is one full 20. And what is the remaining? 30. Right? When you do the multiplication, how you do? 30, 50, 20, 120, 20, and 30. This is the part it will do when we give the percentage in the middle. So check the symbol over here. We have the percentage sign, right? To get the remaining, right? After the full number is subtracted, what is the remaining? So now there is a double star. What do you think this is? Without reading the text, what do you think this is? X to the power Y. Double star mean 30 to the power 20. Right? For example, 4 to the power square, this is 60. So this is 30 to the power. Right? So now you can print and see this is the number. So this is the basic arithmetic operation. Let's play it in a different way. So now I'm going to take it as an enter value 33. I'm going to get it as a number now. Enter value 10.5. This is now a floating number, right? So now I can't change this into integer. So let's print and see. It will say it can't change it into integer value because I entered a floating string. Floating number, it's a string, I can change it, but not as an integer, as a float. Now it's working. So now, if you print the sum, 30 plus 10.5, 33 plus 10.5, 43. So what is the class do you think this will be? Type, print, type, sum. What do you think? It should be float, right? Because it's 43.5. So the integer and the floating will be adjusted accordingly internally Python, in the internal Python. So you are adding two full floating. For example, yeah, here we got this 1.65, right? So this is the ratio. So let that and see. Print type ratio. It will be converted into float because it automatically identify while we do the operation whether it's an int or a float, and it's defined the class automatically, right? So now you know how to get the number, how to store the number, how to convert the string into integer thing. So this will be the frequent error we face in as an AI engineer, because certain time you take it as an input from the user, uh, and you forget to convert it into an integer, right? So all the inputs are string values. So these things are need to be very carefully addressed. Otherwise, the type error will come and there will be a huge error message in the back, because the interpreter give all the error that it faced while it is executing the string multiplication into this multiplication. Let's try that also. So rather than saying this one, I'm going to take it as 33. Right, okay. Okay, and this is 10.5, and I'm going to eliminate this code now, right? I'm not going to convert it into int. If I put a hash, interpreter is not going to take it into action. So it's just a comment. So now only y is floated. Now if I print the sum, the error comes in. See the error? Can only concatenate string, not float to string. So this is called type error. I told you, type error. You can't add a string with the float number. So you have to add, convert it. Now you do it. You know, right? So that type error is very, very common when it's come to AI programming. Like if you are not careful, because you type 1,000 lines code and finally you miss some certain things. But the float error come, then you have to go back and change it into the integer or string. All right. So this is all about the arithmetic operations. So arithmetic operation is you are going to use in and out in the AI operation, because anyway you have to calculate the error. We have seen how that works. So whoever did not attend the first lectures, there is an avatar video added, right? You did not attend first lecture. You were not there. So in the first week, if you go and self-enroll, there is avatar video. Go and check that. Okay? It explains certain things and you will understand how the human brain with the artificial brain works. That will help you to understand the rest of the 18 weeks. Today it's not needed because we are learning Python. But when we are coming to the fifth week, that is really needed, because we are going to compare how the human brain identifies the numbers, how our brain artificial brain identifies the numbers. So by comparing, we are going to do. Therefore, the first class is very, very important. If you missed it, please go and have a look at it. Okay? And I will also post the lecture recording that I have done here in that thing. But there is avatar recording also. The teacher over there is an avatar, not a real person. So it's an AI avatar. Have you looked at it by any chance? So go and have a look. So the news readers already know what he is doing, right? So similar kind of stuff. You can create your own avatar. Just 10 seconds of video is needed. While you talk like this, we record. There's a software, you put it, your avatar is created. So whatever type, that avatar will talk. The same action. So it's very, very easy now. Right? Okay. So that is all about arithmetic operation. Now the loop condition. If else. Do you want a break in the middle? Want a break? All right. So we will start back at 11:05, 10 minutes break? Yeah. Okay, we'll take a 10 minutes break. Okay, you can go to the restroom and have water. Yes, water is there. You'll meet at you can always access all and you can get it, right? And watch the videos that are available. Without second verify. Basically, this Python is important to understand the AI. That's now we do it to come to AI program. Yeah, it's not that hard, but it will take some time to train. So in the class, you have the training and have to look for very big without the machine and train. So during that time, we will discuss some practical examples and stuff what is going on. Otherwise, you can look at the training while it's going on and do nothing with it. What we do is we usually train the waiting environment. Yeah. So because it takes days, sometimes a week for the training. So when large models, it takes weeks sometimes. So then we put it to the VM and run it in the VM and we do our work in the computer. Once the VM is ran, then the model is saved. We use the model for execution. That's all. Right? So only needed is the Python saved model. Right? AI model. Once it's model means what? What do you mean by the model? Saved model. Saved model means the parameters. That parameters are saved. That's all. So when you put an input, it multiplies with the saved parameters, output is given. Right? So the final saved parameters is the thing that we need. So after the training takes time, lot of time. So after the training is done, the parameter is just a number. So you load it, that numbers, and you can use it. Training only takes time. Execution won't be that much. Take time. It will be fast. And the training takes we have to use less number of data. We have a million data, then we take but GPU is so from 6 weeks onwards, we are going to go day by day application. Right? So what we'll do is you do the data collection before come to the class. So that means then you can test it also, right? So maybe if it's a face recognition, take some of your family members' photo and come. Then you can do the face recognition system. We'll do a common example like using Trump famous figures, and you try it with your thing in the classes, right? And the best thing about AI right now is only one or two lessons we will learn about how from the scratch. From the scratch, right? So how to define neuron, lessons we will learn. After that, it's application oriented. You are going to build your model. So now the thing is this people have defined pre-trained model. Pre-trained. That means this model is pre-trained for face recognition, right? So that means it has the weights adjustment because all weights and bias adjustment already saved for some other person. What we do is we don't train the whole model, we load the model into the model and we freeze the weight up to this point. Up to this point. Basically, like a certain level. Like let's say, only we are going to train this part, which is going to be the classification. Basically, the last few layers of the loop. Last few layers. So this weights are freezed. This is the only part we are going to train. In that case, we can reduce the training time a lot. Right? Rather than having millions of neurons connected together, you are going to only train this part. So that's the part we are going to get along after 7 years. Right? Pre-trained model, no train for all. So that is the best option. If you are going to build up all the time from the scratch, it takes time and everything. So we take the pre-trained model and we'll do it. So we'll discuss, no worries. All right, now we'll come to the L6 there are 2 people in the back. Okay, we'll start slowly. So in Python, the conditional statements are used to make decision based on conditions. So it executes a specific block of code if a certain condition is true, and an alternative block of code if the condition is false. Right? So as I said, if the glass is full, you drink the water. If the glass is half full, pour the water. Else, leave the glass. So if else, right? The same human language. Same human language. If, else, or else. If there are many conditions, to only one condition, we say if and else. If there are many conditions, then we else or if else. If else in Java, C Sharp, here we call it else. Else if. Okay, the code was. Okay. So before moving on conditional statement, it is important to understand the operators such as equal, less than equal, or double equal. So in this code, earlier we used one equal to define the variable. Name equal, double colon, log. Integer equal something. So that is equal. So here we will use double equal to compare the value of two variables. So you will understand when we are going. Okay. So the less than operator is given by this value, that as we use it in mathematics. Greater than is this one. Less than or equal to is this one. Less than or equal to this one, or greater than or equal to other one. Right? So these are important for this thing because we are going to define condition. If the age is less than 50, the entrance is allow the entrance. If the age is greater than 50, block entrance. Right? So something like that we are going to give the condition. So we have to know how to define less than or equal, greater than or equal, or equal. If the age is 18 or above, eligible to vote. Else, not eligible. So how to define that? Greater than or above condition we need to define. So we are going to use these things for that purpose. Okay. So now we'll go to the thing. Let's say first we are going to take a marks, right? And we are going to do a practical example whether this guy is pass or fail or need to retake the exam, right? So when you enter your marks to the portal, it will say no, you failed, you passed, or you have to retake the exam, something like that. So how it defines based on the marks, we have certain conditions. For example, if the marks is greater than 80, A, greater than equal to 80, A, greater than or equal to 75, A minus. Something we have some marks level. So that condition we are going to follow. So in this case, let's take the input marks. So I'm going to put the marks maybe 60, maybe 50. We'll take 50. Okay. Then I'm going to make it into the integer because it takes as a string value the 50 marks. Then the marks is changed into integer. Now, this is not needed because I took the marks earlier, right, as 50. I will command it and don't want this code to execute, so I'm putting a hash into that. So now if you see clearly, if the entered marks is less than 40, marks is less than 40, there is a double dot, print. Unfortunately, you are required to resit for the exam. Else mean what? 40 or above. Less than 40 is one condition, mean 40 or above. Else, you have satisfied the minimum requirement. Right? So now, we have entered the marks as 50. So I'm going to print it and see. It's saying you have satisfied the minimum requirement. Right? Because it's 50, not less than 40. So let's try it in another way. I'm going to enter 35, and I'm converting it to integer. Now I am executing the marks. What is happening? Now it checks the marks. The marks is less than 40. So it prints the, unfortunately, you are required to reset the exam. So rather than going and getting the marks and getting the input, simply we can also use this code to define the marks, right? And call it back. So now I am going to print 70. So what do you think? It will say you have satisfied the minimum requirement, right? That means you are passed. So you pass or fail. You have to retake the exam or not to retake the exam. That's the condition we have defined here. Now, We are going to add certain more information. Now there are only two. You are satisfied or you have to retake the exam. Now we are going to say, based on the marks, you have to retake the exam, or else congratulations, you have obtained a pass grade. Congratulations, you have obtained a merit grade. Congratulations, you have obtained the distinction grade. Right? So how this happens? So I define the marks here. You can change that. So now I define it as 65 defaultly, right? Or else you can hash it, enter the marks from here, come back down and also execute. It takes time, so we will define the marks here, right? So marks is 65. So now if you see, if the marks is less than 40, it will print, unfortunately, you are required to visit for the exam. If the marks is greater than or equal to 40, even if it is 40, greater than or equal to 40 and less than 60, in between 40 to 60, even the 40 is counted, 40 to 60, but 60 is not counted, 40 to 59, because it's lost, not less than equal. This is less than, right? It comes in, congratulations, it's going to print this. If the marks is less than, greater than or equal to 60, 60 to 74, it is going to print this one. And above 75, or else nothing of these conditions, it is going to print this one. That means it's above, greater than, above 75, right? Greater than or equal to 75. Now let's print 39, right? And print the condition. What do you think? 39 is less than 40. It goes to this condition and printed it. It's line by line, it's going to execute. First it will go check, no, go check, yes, then print it. Go check, yes, print it, like that. So now let's print 40. What do you think? What it will print? It will print, congratulations, you have obtained the pass grade. Why? Because here the marks is greater than or equal. Sorry, greater than or equal to 40. If the marks is greater than or equal to 40, print this one we have defined. So exactly it's printed. So let's say 60. What do you think? If the mark is 60, what is going to print? It will go to this one. Congratulations, you have obtained the merit grade. Why? Because we have done this one. Now we will print 75. What do you think? That is going to go to this one because this is less than 75. This printed, congratulations, you have obtained the distinction. Exactly. If I want to take this one into this, now the 75 fall into this category, right? Because I put 75 equal, less than or equal to 75. That means 75 also taken into consideration. Therefore, you only obtain merit grade. Above 75 or 76 only, you will get the distinction. You get the difference, right? Equal and this thing. So now, this is the if else. If else. How many conditions? Right? If the age is 18, allowed to vote or not allowed to vote. You can write a code now. Right? Print input age. You are eligible to vote or not. That's all. Right? Simple. Now we will do something with the equal operator. So now we will take the input. Again, I am repeating, this await input is only for Jupyter Notebook. Keep in mind that if you are working in Python environment, input is will work. Okay? You know Python, right? No? A little bit. So now we will enter the Z value. So what is this? Code print the system. Okay. We will enter the Z value, which is maybe some value. 1.1 0.5, some value, doesn't matter. So, but this is an integer. So let's print 1, right? So let's print 1, enter, and I'm converting that integer into 1. So now, here this is not needed because it's 1. So already we taken the input and converted into 1. So now if you see, if C is less than 1, system is stable. If C is double equal to 1, it's not singly. System is marginally stable. If else greater than 1, then it's going to be unstable. So this is the system, something. In the engineering control system, we do that. Stable, marginally stable, unstable. So we don't want to go too much about that. So this is an example given by Professor Cecil while designing this course. He's a control expert. So you want to design control, I said, okay. But we don't want to worry about control system. We will see what is over here. So now let's print it. Okay. So this was not converted correctly. Okay. Now, if you put z is equal to 1, system is marginally stable. Right? So now what will happen? If I eliminate, and that means exactly same value, greater than or equal is a different case. Exactly if this value comes in, you should stop this guy. If the guy is about 50 years old, exactly 50 years old, you cannot allow it. Something like that. Right? So how to do that? What will happen if you put a single thing? It will not take it. That is not defined in the condition. So to compare the exact value, we use the double equal. Double equal. So we will go up here and we can define another condition. Right? Here. Else if marks is double equal to 75, we will say something. You obtained merit, maybe border, merit, grade, something like that. They're different, right? So now what will happen if you enter 75? It is a special case. It will print because my marks is 75. It exactly 75. It goes and print a separate condition, right? You understand the double equal sign, right? So now we know greater than equal, less than or equal, double equal, and if else condition. Clear? So now there is an example that you have to do in home. Write a program that takes a score and bring the grade A, B, C, D, E, F based on the number that you input, right? So how to add a code? Go here, click this one, the coding window will be added over here. If you want a coding window above, go here, click this one, the coding window will be added here. Okay, you can execute in that way. So now you can copy and paste the question to DA assistant, it will give the code, but I recommend you to write by yourself based on this example that we have seen and write in home. It's example thing. So where we are going to use this one? For an entrance system, automatic entrance system. So AI detect my face as a logi, right? I am in the list. My name is in the list. So I say, if detected name logi, AI is giving, if detected name in the list, open the door. If the detected name is false, it's a boolean, right? Don't give access. So there, if else is coming up. So there we will use a lot of examples, right? If the person come, I take a photo, the camera see my face recognition system, give me the name logi. Then in the list I have saved who have the access. This printed name will be checked whether I am in that thing. If if true, give access. False, not give access. Or else, that you will use the if else statement. Clear, right? Good. So now we'll go to the other thing, loops. There are two loops, for loop and while loop. So now we check the condition and do certain task. So now imagine an example. There are 10,000 images, right, in a folder. 10,000 images in a folder. People faces in a folder with name logi, Sugun, like that, 10,000 images, right? It's in a list. It's a label as a thing. So now what I need to do is I need to check whether my image is there or not, or Logi's image is there or not. So what I need to do is, I need to go one by one and take the image label and check my name is there. Or else go to the second image, take it and check whether my name is there. Third image, fourth image, fifth image. You have to do for 10,000 images. So if my image is in the saved as a 500 image in the 10,000 image, when it's detected, then it's stopped. So that means what I need to do? I need to go one by one. So that is called loop. You go into the loop and you stuck again and go back. Second image, third image, fourth image, fifth image. Until I find out Logi's image, I will go. If my image is saved as 10,000 image, the last image, it will go until the 10,000th image. Right? So that is the loop. There are two loops. One is for loop and the while loop. So we will see the difference. So if you want to repeat the same task again and again, loops can be used. Looping structures execute a block of code repeated back to back again and again. So in Python, for loop is used to iterate over sequences such as list, tuples, and string. Keep in mind, for loop is used to iterate. Iterate means one time, two times. Where we used the iteration word earlier. Training, first iteration, second iteration, last week, right? First site epoch, second epoch. So that's the iteration. So that is for loop. While loop is, it's kind of, imagine you are supposed to find the sum of the first 100 positive integers. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 up to 100, how much? So you can go as like this. So it clearly, you have to add 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus like that. But using the while loop, it's just one line of. So there are two loops, but until this reach, you are going to do the same operation. Okay. Now we will go into the code and make list. 85, 70, 55, 78, 90. So this is a marks list. Marks list I have defined. Right? Now, what is this marks list? Is this an integer or a floating or something? What is the type? Next sheet. So now this is there. So if you are taking a list as an integer, we have defined this colon. Now this is without a colon, right? So if you print, it gives a list name. Yeah, these values are integer. Marks list. See, the values are integer, saved as an integer because we didn't put it as a semicolon. The string value when we stored in the list, we put the double colon or single colon. Do you remember? Now we are just saving it as an integer value. So the number in the list is integer. So 0th number is this one. So if I say 70.5, and shift enter. So now if I am going to say 1, so that is a float, right? So it saves as a number. Even in the list, I can add a integer value also. It doesn't matter, right? So that is the integer value. 2, that is a string value. So we can save different things in the list at the same time, right? So that's clear. Okay, we will go back to our original thing. 55, those are full marks. Okay. So now this is the list that we have, right? So in the above, we have used for loop to iterate through each element in the list, marked list. The code assigns value to variable marks and prints it iteratively every time the loop is read. So here we have used the for. So what I have done, for marks in mark list, marks list, this is the list, print marks. So what it goes is, first is goes 85. So let's do a small task here. If I print the way it printed, right? If I print the marks list directly, it's printed. So now I don't want to do that. I'm going to use a for loop to print the marks one by one. First, it need to print the first marks. Second, it need to print the second marks. Third, it need to print the third marks. Fourth, it need to print the fourth mark. So I am using, you can use this as anything. For I in marks list, print I. That is also okay. You define a name for that list thing element. So if you print it, this is first time 85 printed. Then it goes the second, I is second now, print the second. I is thing, then 55. Then other one, 7. Like one by one it goes until the list is over. See the difference when you print the list itself, it's printed as it is. In the for loop, we are printing one by one. We take the value, print. Take the value, second value, print. I is increasing. One by one, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's increasing until the list length is over. Right? So that is the for loop. Another example, you can print 4 letters in AII. So this is, you can define anything. Here, earlier it was marks. I changed it into I. Right? So here, 4 letters in AII, print letters. So what do you expect what we have? It will get A, and second I, third E, fourth Y, another one is E. One by one it iterates. Take the word, one by one it iterates until the word is over. Right? So that is the for loop. Clear, right? Yeah. So there is a practice exercise also, counting and printing characters. Write a program that asks the user to enter a word and then uses a for loop to count and print each character in the word. Count and print. Right? Think about it. So it just printed. I have to say A1, 0, I1, 2, 3. So like that, you can print that. All right? Think about it. So now we will go to the while loop. Right? For loop is clear, right? In a list, you go iterate through the list, you go iterate through the tuple or string. A string, AII is a string, right? We iterate through one by one thing. So while is little different. While, so now the example that we have talked about here is adding 1 to 100. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 up to 100, right? So how to do it in while loop? So now what I am going to do is, initially I have to define what is I. Now I am defining I is equal to 1. So now we will say first 10 numbers, not 100. First 10 numbers we will add. So while the I is less than or equal to 10. So that means until then, print I. So what is going to happen is, it's going to print I, 1, 2, 3. It's not going to add. Okay? Only print I. So what? I'm going to run the while loop in my mind. Okay, I is equal to 1 first. Come to the while loop, because Python is a code line by line execution in an order. So I is equal to 1, Python stored as an integer value. Now come while I is equal to less than or equal to 10. I is 1 now. Is it true? Less than or equal to 10, right? So yes, I go into the while loop. I go into the while loop. Clearly see, when you use a while loop, if you use an if condition, if you use a for, what the execution need to be done, there is a gap here. One tab need to be given, right? Even in the for loop, for inside what it need to do. In the if also, if a tab space inside what need to do. The tab space define how this is the condition and this is the execution, right? That's the tab space. So that tabs makes it sometime harder when it's come to 1,000 lines of code. A small tab makes an issue. You spend a whole day to identify what that issue. Finally, it's small gap, right? But nowadays, this Visual Code Studio and it's find out the error correct, and it's marks in red color. So you just go delete it. Earlier, in our time when we learned Python, it won't find. So we like a small comma is missing, done. You don't know what to do. You have to spend the whole day to do that. But now the Visual Studio Code Editor is helpful. Find out the error, it indicates in red colors and marks and everything. So you go back to the code, edit those things within a short time. It will do it. So now is I is 1. I came into the loop. I came into the loop. See, the print is inside the loop. So I'm printing I now. Right? After printing I, second step. So that means I will print 1. Then going into the second step, I is equal to I plus 1. So now I am defining the I. Earlier I is 1. I am adding a 1 to that I. So now the new I is going to be 2. 1 plus this addition 2. Right? Then I come back again to the while loop. 2 is less than or equal to 10. Print 2. Come here. Now this I is 2. 2 plus 1, 3. So 3 go again, less than 10. Print 3. 3 plus 1, 4. Again, like that, I'm going to go in a loop. So if you execute this code, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Up to 10, it's counted. So here, this is the condition. Now, I'm going to do it as 2. Now, what is going to happen? Rather than increasing 1 by 1, these are the values is printed. Right? So first it's coming less than 10, 1 is printed. Then 1 plus 2, 3, coming in the while loop, 3 is less than 10, I print the 3, go here. 3 plus 2, 5, I go here, 5 is less than 10, and I come here, print 5, go here. 5 plus 2, 7, less than 10, come here, 7, print here. 7 plus 2, 9, less than 10, come here, print 9, and come here. 9 plus 2, 11, I come here, it's not true. Now 11 is not less than or equal to 10. So I exit the loop. That's all. Right? Until the condition is met, this iteration happens. Clear, right? Right. That's the while. So not other thing. Adding the numbers up to 50. Earlier we have seen the 100. So now we will define sum is equal to 0. Initially 0. I is equal to 3. Initial number is equal to 3. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to get the I less than or equal to 15, where the sum is going to be added. So 3 plus 5 plus 7 plus thing, finally sum will be printed. So now, see clearly, this while loop is going to get executed. I is equal to 3 first, right? So come less than 15, true. So now sum is equal to 0. Early, right? Sum is equal to 0 plus 3. Now sum is equal to 3. Then come here, I is equal to 3 plus 2, 5. Come here, 5 is less than or equal to 15. Yeah, sure, true. So comes in, earlier the sum is 3. 3 plus 5 is equal to 8. Now the sum is 8. And I is 5. 5 plus 2, 7. Then 7 goes here. Checks is less than or equal to 15. 7 comes here. Now 5 plus 3, 8 plus 7, 15. 5 plus 2 is 7. So come here. It goes on a loop, right? And the sum is going to get add up until is equal to 15. Then see this line. This line is outside the loop. It's aligned with the while. That means after exiting the loop, it is going to bring the total sum that we got over here. If you put it inside the loop, we will see that also. Okay. So now the sum of the term of a series is 63. 3 plus 5 plus 7 plus 8, something. Adding all these things, right? So 63. So now I'm going to print this inside the loop. See what will happen? See? Because it's inside the loop, first it's printed 3. Then 5 plus 3, 8. 8 plus 7, 15. 15 plus 9, 24. 24 plus 11, 35. 35 plus 13, 48. 48 plus 15, 63. Right? So now this one tab makes the issue. Now the print is inside the loop. Now the print is outside the loop. So now you print it. It go the iteration and come exit the loop and print the final value. If you put this print inside the loop, that is going to be a different story. Right? Clear? Cool. All right. So it's clear, right? Yeah. Now the practice exercise, write a program that asks the user to enter a starting number and they counts down to 0, printing each number in the countdown. That means 20, 10, 19, 18, 17, like that it should print. Use the while loop to do that. For while clear? Clear, right? That's I think the last one, I believe. Conditional, containers, arithmetic done, functions. Yeah, one more functions there. Yeah. So this is a function. So one thing he encountered, what he has done in the integer, we have done arithmetic operation. So in the arithmetic operation, we take the x input and the y input. Then the third step, we converted the x and y into integers. What he has done was, he copy and pasted the integer on top. X is equal to y integer, y is equal to integer y. Then he taken the input, right? He first converted x into int, y into int. Then he take the x input as a string, y input as a string. It didn't work. Why? Because Python is an interpreting language, one by line by line in an order, line by line in an order. But imagine if you see 1,000 million line code, it's available in the world. Million lines of code program is available. So you carefully go and okay, this need to be done this after this need to be done this after this. Human brain cannot memorize. It's not possible. So what we do is, to avoid it, we create separate Python files. Okay. Function A, function B, function C, function D. Like that we create separate Python files. And in the main file for the execution, we call that function. So that function itself have 100 lines, 200 lines, 1,000 line codes. But in the main file that you are going to execute, you call that function, right? So you can define the function anywhere. So like that, when you define that making into the integer as a function, at the beginning, after calling that integer, you should just call the function. You don't want to call in type thing. Just type call, like execute that function, will execute that code. So to do that, make the function library easier, we use these functions. For example, function in Python is a set of codes written to perform a specific task. Hence, instead of writing lengthy codes to perform complex tasks, we can directly use the functions and save time. For example, Python has thousands of functions already defined. What we have done to x plus y, what we have done to do that, we have x plus y, sum is equal to, we have done. But Python has already a code, function defined as sum. You call sum inside the bracket, this number, if you do the summation, right? How to do the summation? It's defined in that function, right? So we are calling the function over here. Similarly, length of a list, we have called this length. Do you remember? So this length is a function. We are calling to execute. What is length? It is saved in the Python library, right? It's already there. So for example, this thing, list of numbers, summing all the numbers in the list. So you just need to say total sum numbers. That's all. You don't want to type 85 plus 92 plus 78 plus 90 plus 88. No. And you just sum numbers. It is going to add up total thing, because this sum is defined somewhere else. How to add up the numbers is defined. That is a function, right? So we will use in this thing initially a function, and we will also write code how to define a function. For example, numbers are here. So let's run this code, okay? So I will write the thing. Maybe I will execute this total thing. Right? If I execute this one, it's printed. So now I am going to print print total and see it's giving total. I just use some function. If I want to print count is defined as length. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers are there in the list. It gives 5, just a function, right? This function is already defined defaultly in the Python. So now, instead of calculating this, I am going to take the average. So there is, let's say we are going to define a function to take the average. How to define a function? So we are going to write our own function to calculate the average. Whenever we need the average, we call that function as we call the sum and we put the list into it, right? So we will define the numbers. So now average is okay. Total is equal to sum number. So def definition, calculate average, numbers. Numbers is the one that we have over here. It's not defined yet, right? This is not defined yet. Calculate average numbers. The total is sum numbers, that is a defined function already. Count is length numbers. So the average is going to be total divided by count. Am I right? Total divided by total numbers. How many numbers are there is going to be the average, of course. So then return average. So this is the function. This is the function, right? So now once I printed it, right? Once I printed it, now I define the function. So how to define a function? Def, this is my name, calculate average. I can rename it as I wish. Logi average, I can do that, right? So fund for average, anything. It's just a name. Inside the bracket, what is the path? So here, what do you think? How this would be defined in the Python? Def sum inside bracket numbers, that function is written over there inside. So when you call the numbers, it's no. What is going to happen? So now we have defined the function calculate average numbers semicolon. So how to calculate the numbers definition? Take the total numbers in the list. Average is equal to this one. Return the average. The output is going to be the average. Return average. This is how you define a function. So now let's execute. Test course is going to be this one. So 85, 92, 78, 98. Right? These are the test scores. So the average score is equal to calculate average. Where I see the calculate average, this is the name that I have defined for the function. Calculate average. I come down, calculate average. I am calling the function calculate average. What I need to calculate? Test scores. I need to calculate for the test scores. Here the function is defined for numbers. Therefore, it's numbers, this is numbers, this is numbers. If I put test scores, automatically in the def function, it will take the test scores on. Now, it's return the average. To display it, now we have to print and see the average, just the average score is going to be 86.6. Did you define the function every time how to calculate? No. You might end up in a programming. In many places, you have to take the average. So you can't go and say total is equal to this, length is equal to this, calculate. No. Just call that def function average and call it and use it anywhere else. So for example, if I go to this Python code, this is kind of a, see, this is a large Python code we are doing in a project for a project. You can see def save business info, def save image. This is a function, right? Def append image taken, def analyze. These are functions I have defined. So the def analyze append recommendation. Come here and def detect objects and update JSON. Okay. Then def main, right? Everything. Def main. So this is the main part, right? These are the function I have defined. So now I am executing only the main. If I go to the main, in all the places, if you see, business name is equal to street text input, and this is a different one. Okay, so it's run one by one these functions. I'm calling it in the main file. I define as a function somewhere, I call it. Otherwise, imagine if I want to call the same function 10 times in the programming, I have to write, for example, if I want to call this function, I have to write this much of code in that part. Rather than writing this much of code every time, I define the function, call it whenever I need it. Right? So function is a very, very useful thing. You define all the function on the top, whatever you require, and you call it while execute. You can try it using the int function. Def, make it in numbers, and you write it and it will call it again back later. Right? So if you see, so this, forget about this, we'll learn about those things later. These are libraries, importing libraries, will come. If you see all our functions, and also function name is here, the next line is here, right? So that means inside the function, the gap is very important. Here you see the Visual Studio VS Code, it gives the line to maintain the tab values. If inside is if is it coming here, I'll show you what will happen. Okay. So when I execute, see, immediately it shows the red line, right? So then I know there's a space issue. I enter a tab. Now it's gone, right? So like that, we play with the Python code. So now you understand the Python definition function, right? When it's come to larger programming, really big programming, definition is a time saver and easy to understand because you go, the def function is fine. Okay, go to that file. We are step. Okay, fine. Come back. Do it. So like easy to understand and it's structured code, very nicely structured code. Otherwise, the code, understanding the code is going to be really, really hard, or else it's going to be messy. And Python also going to get loaded because all these line interpreted again and again, it's going to get loaded. So the heaviness of the programming in the computer is going to take time to execute. So to avoid that, this definition function is a time saver and the life saver. Okay, clear? All right. You can also get the like average. You can define some function by your own, and you can try it out with the numbers or anything. Right. So this is all for today. And we are like 20 minutes later. Fine. So you can go back to the home page. Here exercise 1, exercise 2 is there. Try to do it within this week. Submit it. We'll be able to score you. Okay. All the exercise over here are generated based on your this lesson. Don't ask the AI assistant. Whenever help needed, only ask. Right. So otherwise, practice it because it's going to give you a really good experience on Python programming. So this is the avatar video. So this is not there, it's there, you can do it. So for example, he's not a real person at all. He's an AI guy. It's an AI. You can find step by step whatever I have taught, everything is mentioned over here, right? So you can also have the access up to 5th week. After 5th week, we don't have this avatar for Sri Lankan team. And everything is defined over there. So you can have first week, whoever missed the lecture, please go there and watch. Whoever came to first week here also, go there and watch because there are very better animations like the car coming, going. It's like a cartoon. You will like it as a cartoon. Watch it down and it will give a very good experience to you. Was it boring? No. You learned something, right? Okay, good. So next week, we are going to learn a little bit deeper. We are going to program for certain tasks, right, in Python. Right now we learn the basics of Python. Now we are going to go a little bit forward and create programs, right, using Pythons, and we are going to execute and we are going to play.